What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? How are you tonight? It's Friday night, Friday the 13th, full moon, some crazies out there. Make sure you're doing what you need to do to protect yourself in the crazy world we live in today. But I'm not going to be able to do my show tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, so I'm going to try to jump on here tonight and knock it out quick as I can. I apologize if there's anyone else doing a show tonight. I'm really not up onto my YouTube schedule, and I apologize if someone else is, if I'm cutting into their show, but this is the only time I'm able to do mine, so it's the way it is. But in tonight's show, I want to talk a little bit about the recent purge on Amazon. If you guys go out there and do some Facebook or anything like that, the forums on Amazon or anything, you've noticed a large number of sellers coming out and saying that they've been knocked off of Amazon, they've been turned off. And from what I've learned, from what I've seen, a lot of this has to do with HBA products and health and beauty products. So my first fear on anything is, what is the root of the problem? And I think the root of the problem is the HBA. We all know that a lot of HBA products that are out there anymore are very highly regulated by the FDA administration. And I think a lot of this purging, this people getting kicked off of Amazon, has to do with the FDA coming in and really knocking down on Amazon. So I think what you need to do for your business, and what I'm doing for my business, is really look at what you're selling. I'm not immune to having problems with Amazon. I've recently gotten 2 notifications from Amazon on products that I've sold in the past that are no longer available to list in the catalog. The Brain Strong products, I picked them up at Kmart a while back. They're on clearance. I mean, I haven't sold them in about 2 or 3 months, but on the 9th of this month, the FDA came out and said that the product was misrepresenting itself and charged them a big fine. And now Amazon came out and said, well, we're not going to have it on our platform. So if you have any Brain Strong products, I'm sure you've gotten the same email that I've got. Another one that I've got, which I think is a little bit more shady and a little bit more concerning to me, is I was selling a Yoda USB, like where you download information onto a card, like a USB stick or whatever. And someone in Italy came and told Amazon that they own the rights to that product, even though it was manufactured by a completely different company. And Amazon said, well, we believe you, and took that product and basically limited anyone selling it other than this company out of Italy. And I had 3 or 4 of them in there when this happened. And the only way Amazon will allow me to sell these products if I get this company in Italy to say it's okay. So I've sent this email to this company in Italy with no response. I've sent emails to the company who made the product, who manufactured the product, and they said, no, we own the rights to this product. I sent that email to Amazon, and Amazon said, well, no, this company in Italy says they own the rights. This is what we've got to go by. So I had to get those products removed and sent back to me. I've sold them on eBay since then. But it's a little bit scary to think that a company can just come out and say, well, I own the rights to that product, so no one else can sell it. So that's a little bit of a concern to me. If you're out there, you're selling a lot on Amazon, it should be a concern to you too, because it's amazing the amount of wild, wild west action that's going on right now on Amazon. I mean, we all saw it with the Frozen. They came in and closed up all the Frozen categories, and that was just basically from sellers from China coming in and saying, we're just going to flood the market with fakes, and there we go. So you're all set. Just take it and go with it. So they shut that whole market down. I mean, a lot of us made a ton of money from a ton of money from the frozen craze. I mean, I was right there in it, and luckily I didn't have any frozen products at the time that it happened. But another thing that happened when they froze that out is it gave Amazon a time to collect, to breathe, and start, getting their inventory in so that they really can dominate that market. And it's just funny to think the amount of time and effort people spent going out and buying that frozen. I mean, I can just see some people probably had to get stuck with thousands and thousands of dollar product, and it's just locked down in Amazon. You can't even get it back until they get done with their audit of it. And it's just scary to think that that stuff can happen. But Amazon is a wonderful marketplace. Don't get me wrong. I'm not harshing on Amazon. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be selling on Amazon if you are. I'm just saying that we need to look at this and look at it realistically and say, what can we do to, I don't want to say less, to stop our chances of getting kicked off of Amazon, but to lessen them. Sold some stuff, I guess. To lessen the chances of us getting kicked off of Amazon. And I think that there's three main things that we can do to really lessen that chance of getting kicked off of Amazon. First off, and the first thing I've done is I've gone in through my products and I've looked at anything that's HBA and that might have some kind of claim, or I've gone in and searched every product I have in my, which wasn't a ton. I don't sell a ton of HBA products, health and beauty products, but I wanted to go through and I looked at every one that I had in stock and searched them against the FDA. Just Googled the name of the product and FDA and see if anything comes up. If nothing came up, I felt pretty confident that it wasn't a product that was going to have a problem. The next thing I did is I went from co-mingled inventory to labeling all of my own products. It adds a little bit of time, but right now I would do that. I would go in and I would change your settings if you're doing co-mingled to having everything where you have to label everything. That way, if there is a problem, it's your product. They'll be able to track down your product and make sure that it's not a counterfeit, and you won't have any problems that way. And the third thing I think that we all need to do is start looking at other avenues, because we all know it's Amazon's sandbox. They can set the rules, they set the rules, and we have to follow. But if something were to happen and I were to get shut down on Amazon today, I know that I can go to eBay and recoup that income. I don't want to, but I could. And I could set up my own website, and I could do a lot of things. And these are things that we need to think about today when we're seeing all these sellers getting kicked off. I mean, big sellers. I mean, I'm in the Facebook group, the Scanner Monkey Facebook group, and there's a guy on there who's $1 million seller, and he got kicked off for some HBA products that some sunscreen. And another thing you need to make sure you do is when you get notifications from Amazon, and this is a problem that he had, is he just ignored the notification. And when you get a notification from Amazon, you need to go in there and look and see if you have the product in stock. If you have any of it in stock, get it sent back to you ASAP. You have 48 hours to get in there and get it all knocked out before Amazon comes out and really hits you hard. And I mean, there's no second chances. I mean, you may get your account reinstated, but it's not an easy process. And if you're like me and you've got 5,000, I think I have 3,500 products on Amazon right now. And if I had to get those all sent back to me, I mean, that's a good chunk of money. And there's sellers out there that got tons more than I have. And I mean, just think of the amount of money you'd have to spend just to get your products back, to then list them on another platform like eBay or Bonanza or somewhere else. It's just a scary thought, and you want to protect yourself. That's the key to this whole hangout, is protect yourself. If you're selling on Amazon, know what products you have in there. I mean, a lot of us do retail arbitrage, and these stores I mean, especially the Kmart's and Walmart's and all these other things, if they think that there's going to be a problem with a product, they don't just pull it off the shelves. They put it on clearance and super clearance. And then we go in there and we're like, wow, this is a great deal. And we buy it. And we send it into Amazon, and we're the ones who end up getting hit in the balls and getting our accounts knocked down. And, you know, it's not, you know, it's not that it's going to happen. It's what if it happens? What do you do then? And if you protect yourself today, do what I say, go out there, look at your inventory, see what you got in there that's HBA first off, that may have some kind of claim, you know, like that brain strong stuff that I was talking about. I mean, that stuff, they came out and said, hey, this product is good for your kid's brain. It's going to make them smarter. And then, you know, obviously something like that maybe throw up some red lights when you look at it. And then just Google it and see if the FDA has ever come across any problems with it. And, you know, that's going to protect you, it's going to protect your business, and going to protect your income. And those are three things that I want to protect, and I'm sure you do too. But, you know, it's not all doom and gloom. You know, when we look at Amazon, I think some of the things they're doing are good for sellers. I mean, if you look at closing out the grocery and the HBA and these other categories, you know, my business right now, I would say 60 to 70% of it that I'm doing right now is in the grocery and gourmet food categories. And that's only increased with them not allowing just every Yahoo to go to the grocery store and buy products. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's going to help my business. I'm excited about that. You know, if you were locked out of it, I'm sure you're not as excited about it because you probably had plans to be doing some stuff in grocery or doing things in HBA. But, you know, I think that's a good thing. And I think it's going to allow sellers who are doing it the right way, like myself and like I'm sure all of you guys, to benefit from it. But it is scary. I mean, just 2 nights ago, I got an email from Amazon about this Brain Strong stuff, and I mean, it was 9 o'clock at night, and I stopped what I was doing, and I went into my inventory and made sure I didn't have any. I didn't think I did, but made sure I didn't have any of those products in there. Deleted the listings. Contacted Amazon and made sure that I did everything I was supposed to do. Just sent them a quick note and said, hey, I got this email from you. It says that this product is no longer supposed to be sold on Amazon. I've gone ahead, I've deleted the listings. I don't have any products in your warehouse that are this product. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and is this going to be a violation against my account? And they got back to me right away and said, nope, this is not going to be a violation of your account. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're all set. And I keep that email, and if there's ever a problem, I'll go back to that email and say, hey, I did what I was supposed to do. I contacted Amazon Seller Support, and I said, hey, this is what I got going on. You know, and you told me that I was good, and now you're telling me I'm not. So what's up? But you just want to CYA, cover your ass on this stuff. You know, it's Amazon Sandbox. We're getting to play in it, and you know, if my business right now is 60 to 70% Amazon FBA, and if for some reason I was to get knocked out of that, it would throw me for a loop. And I'm going to do everything I can to protect that account. And you know, I pulled out, I think last night we pulled out 25 products that aren't FDA problems, didn't have any issues, but they weren't worth my account. You know, I mean, I Googled them, I did everything I was supposed to do, but it's just not worth my account. I pulled out all my sunscreen stuff because that's what that guy on Scanner Monkey got kicked out for, was sunscreen. So I pulled out everything I had in there that was sunscreen. I deleted all those listings. I went in, I pulled out some stuff for bald guys that is supposed to increase the the growing of your hair or whatever. You know, I just did all that to protect myself, and it's probably not necessary. And when it gets here, I'll ship it. You know, I'll sell it on eBay. But you just want to make sure you're doing all you can to protect your account. And I think more people are going to get kicked off. I think that it's going to happen more often. I think Amazon is really starting to crack down on the whole wild, wild west feel, and it's becoming more business oriented. And I just think you need to, if you're going to be doing Amazon, you're going to be doing FBA, other than books and media and that type of stuff, you really got to know what you're selling and know that the products that you're selling are not going to be an issue. I mean, grocery, I sell tons of grocery, but everything I'm selling is all natural and gluten-free and, all this kind of stuff. So I don't really think that I'm ever going to have a problem, but I might. And, all day today I had my 2 employees going through everything I have in my inventory and searching it and making sure that there was no FDA regulation violations on any of the stuff that I'm currently selling. And I'm going to do that from now on. I'm going to, I buy a product, retail arbitrage, or even from my wholesalers, I'm going to make sure I Google it and make sure that there's no issues with the product. And, I just think that's smart business. I think if you're doing this as a full-time business, it's paying your bills, it's, putting food on your table, you've got to do all you can to protect what you got going on. Let me see if I've got any questions here. Real quick, and gloom. Because it's not doom and gloom. I mean, I think it's good for everything, but you just gotta be smart with what you're doing. Treat it like a business, and everything else takes care of itself. If you're doing the business that I've got my liability insurance, got that. I've got everything that Amazon. Read the rules for Amazon. Know what the rules are. Follow the rules. You're not gonna have a problem, but just make sure you're doing it right. We got Wesley. What's up, Wes? How you doing, man? I haven't talked to you in a while. We'll have to get in a hangout here shortly or something, see what's going on. What's up, Dallas? Crazy thing with Amazon going on. Happy to say I'm safe from these cuts I keep hearing about. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to happen more. I think, like I said, I think there's going to be more of this stuff. And if you're doing the right things, you're a good seller, you don't have anything to worry about. But if you're doing things shady or doing things halfway, then you probably got some things you need to figure out and get it nailed down. What's up, Ronnie? How are you doing, man? Good to see you in here. I enjoyed your recent haul video where you're giving Golden Finger Picker a little bit of a poking at. I thought that was pretty good. Norex Contacts, what's going on, man? How are you tonight? It happens to anyone. Amazon doesn't give a shit about sellers. I think Amazon gives a lot more about sellers than you think they do. And I think that what my belief is that Amazon makes more money from sellers than they do selling these products at a loss, like the pantry and all this stuff that they're doing currently. They're getting kickbacks from Kellogg's, they're getting kickbacks from Coca-Cola, they're getting kickbacks from Frito-Lay and all these big companies to sell these products and figure out how to do this grocery stuff right. And, my business right now is mainly focused on grocery and toys, and that's basically my 2 biggest categories is grocery and toys. So that's kind of what I keep track of. But I know that they're getting kickbacks from Kellogg's. My wife worked for Kellogg's. And, at some point, it's either going to go one or 2 ways. They're going to find the good sellers, and they're going to get rid of everybody else, and they're going to allow the good sellers to continue to sell, or they're going to get out of the sandbox completely, and it's going to become more of a joke like eBay is right now. One of those 2 things is going to happen, and I think it's the first one. I think that they're going to find the good sellers, they're going to purge everybody else, and allow the good sellers to, it's going to be a gold mine for the sellers who really do the right stuff. And, I really think that Amazon FBA is the future. I think that the grocery, they're figuring out this grocery. No one's ever figured out the grocery. Nowhere on the web has anyone figured out how to sell grocery. And they're really doing a good job of it. I mean, if you guys haven't checked out the Amazon pantry, I mean, I buy my groceries from Amazon because it's cheaper and less and more convenient for me to buy it from Amazon, have it shipped to my house, than go to Walmart. And I mean, the prices are unbelievable on that grocery stuff. And they're not making money on that. Not when they're shipping it to me as a Prime customer and, 40-pound package of groceries for $6 or whatever they're charging to ship it. I mean, they're not making money on that deal, but they're getting customers. And, I'm selling a lot of gift baskets. I'm selling, personally created gift baskets. I'm selling a lot of natural, healthy foods, a lot of stuff like that, and that Amazon isn't playing in currently. And, I find that the sellers that I'm competing against are the same sellers, and they all have awesome ratings, and we don't fight for the buy box. And, it's really, I think it's the best opportunity that I've seen in a long time, and I think Amazon's going to continue to be an opportunity. And I think they do care about sellers, and I think that if you look at the whole picture of what they're doing by getting rid of people, these people who they're getting rid of, they got notification saying, hey, you need to fix this in 48 hours or you're going to get kicked off. And they either ignored it, or they didn't fix it properly, or they didn't contact Amazon to make sure they had corrected it properly. There was something they were doing wrong. They're just not kicking off people just to kick people off. And I think by doing what's right, protecting yourself and your business, figuring out what's going on with Amazon, you're really going to have a good experience there. But I think if you just go in there like it's eBay, where you can just throw it up online, somebody buys it, you ship it out, you're probably going to have some problems. I mean, Amazon's going to require you, when you start doing any kind of volume, to have a $100,000 limited liability policy. And 1st of January, I got an email from them saying, hey, you got 30 days to send me in this liability policy. I already had it, so it wasn't a big issue. But if I didn't have it, I know how much trouble it was to get it, and it probably would have taken me longer than 30 days to get it. So, that's a reason they could have kicked me off. But I had it, and I protected myself. And I think that if you're not reading the rules about what you're supposed to have on Amazon, what you're supposed to do as an Amazon seller, there's a ton of rules. There's a whole rule book. Google it. If you have a question, Google Amazon FBA and what your question is, and it'll pull it up. And you can answer pretty much any question you want to answer with doing that. But you've got to make sure that you're following the rules, because you're going to have nothing but problems. Amazon has some seriously undereducated employees. How hard is it to open a box for FBA and see easily spotted fakes and then ban that seller? Well, I agree. That part of it probably is more on Amazon than it is on any individual seller, other than the ones who are sending in stuff. But you also got to understand that when you sign up, and you sign up for co-mingled inventory, you're taking that chance. You're being co-mingled with anybody who wants to send in products. So if someone buys a truckload of products that are damaged and they send them in Amazon FBA, and the boxes look clean, everything looks good, everything looks crisp, there's no problems with them, they go right into inventory. And then when one of them sells, if it just happens to be your customer who buys the product, and they pull that box off the shelf and ship it to the customer, and it gets to the customer, and the customer says, hey, this thing's junk, it's broken, and you have to get it returned, and then you get it back, and it's not the same product you sent in, you're pretty much out of luck if you did commingled inventory. So if you're doing commingled inventory, you really need to look and see what is going on, because you're really going to hurt yourself. And I was a big believer in commingled inventory, and I sat in Hangouts before, and I've told people I do commingled inventory. I don't think it's a problem. But right after Christmas, I stopped doing commingled inventory, because I started to think to myself, well, Christmas is like crazy time, I mean, they're shipping so much stuff, getting so much products in. There's no one that's really going to be able to tell what's what. And by labeling my own products, I protect myself. And I just think that's another thing that people need to do is, if you're selling grocery, you're going to label it anyways. If you're selling media or books, you're going to label it anyways. The only thing it really affects you in is when you're going into toys or kitchen appliances or stuff like that. And if you do commingled, you don't have to label that stuff. But it takes like 5 extra minutes to label it. So just label it and you won't have any issues. So that's my 2 cents on commingled inventory. And Martin Blake, I agree. Amazon has some, and go on to that. Amazon does have some responsibility as far as their employees go, better education, figuring out what the hell's going on. But I think they're doing that. I think that they're, if you look at what they're doing, they're learning a lesson from Frozen. And I think it's not going to happen again. I'm sorry, guys. Somebody's going crazy on pictures. But, you just got to protect yourself. And I think Amazon's going to learn a lesson from Frozen. And I think maybe commingled inventory goes away at some point. I'm selling pictures, guys. I apologize. Wes says, the more I hear about this kind of stuff and more I want to focus mostly on books. Wes, I think about books a lot because I don't do a lot of books. I don't do a lot of media, and I think there's opportunity there. But I also think that depending on where you live, the opportunities to find high-quality books may be limited. And I know you live out in Vegas, and there's probably a lot of retired people and stuff that have really high-quality books that you can buy. But where I live, I get mostly fiction books. When I go to an estate sale, I go to a garage sale. Once in a while, I'll come across a textbook, I'll scan it. Once in a while, I'll come across some nonfiction stuff, and I'll scan them, and I find a few things. I mean, I've sold books for $100, $150, but most of the books I scan are in that $7 to $8 range. And with the new fee structure, where you're getting charged basically $4 to ship, to sell a book plus any weight fees, you really got to sell a lot of books to add up to any kind of real income. And what I'm trying to do and what I'm focusing on my business is getting my per order price up. Around Christmas time, January, February, I was averaging about $22 an order. And over the last 3 months, I've focused on getting that up by doing, bundles, doing multi-packs, doing that kind of stuff, and I've got it up to about $33 now. So my cost is my cost, it doesn't change. But when I sell an item, if I'm, I want to make $10, $11, $12 to sell an item, and by doing what I'm doing, trying to focus on getting that per order cost up, I think that for my business is what it's going to help me more. Ohio Widow, what's your eBay account, or even your Amazon too, please? Thanks. You can check out my eBay account. It's East Texas State Photos, but I'm not going to give out my Amazon account. I do too much stuff where I'm the only seller, and if I gave that out, I would be killing myself. So East Texas Estate Photos is my eBay account. I have another one, East Texas Estate, I think is the other account. There's stuff on both of them. Do you sell on anything on Amazon's besides FBA? It's like a slot machine over here tonight. This is ridiculous. I really didn't plan this. Do you sell anything on Amazon besides FBA? I try not to. I have a couple products that I sell merchant fulfilled just because they're breakable items. One of them is a terracotta pots. I sell some terracotta pots, and during the fall and winter I'll sell some candles, but other than that, pretty much everything is FBA. Let's see here. Kristen Martin's in the house. Thank you very much. So to win on Amazon, you have to be doing a lot of volume. I think if you're focusing on media and books and lower price items, then yes, you do have to do a lot of volume because the fee is such a high percentage of the amount you sell it for. So if you sell a book for $10 and the fee is $5, it's a 50% fee. Where if you sold that same, you have a base fee structure that's like $4.10 if you do FBA, and so if you sell it for $10, anything you sell for $10, you're 40% fee structure. So you've got to really buy that for $1 or $2 to make $2 or $3, and you've got to sell a ton of it to make $300 or $400. Whereas if you focus on getting that per order count, that per order price, the amount that they're paying per order, up, 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 your percentage that you pay in fees goes down, 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 down. And, the lower you can get your percentage of fees, the more money you can make, obviously. So I try to focus on getting that per order price up as high as I can. And I do that by creating multi-packs. I do that by creating baskets and bundles. And selling the toys I sell and stuff like that. I try to buy just the higher price stuff. I chase some hot toys occasionally. I'm chasing some Train Your Dragon stuff right now that are doing well. I chased some Frozen stuff for a while, but I think by getting that per order price up, you don't have to sell in huge volume to do good business. But I'm selling 75 to 100 items a day through FBA, excuse me, let me restate that. Before, in Christmas time, January, December, February, when my per order count was down, I was selling 75 to 100 items a day. Where now with my order count being, my per order price being higher, I don't have to sell quite as much every day to make the same amount of money. And I just think that's smart business. All right, let's see if I got any other questions here. I'm trying to like I said, I'm trying to focus on getting my per order price, the amount that they pay per order, as high as possible. That's my focus right now, 100%. And I think by creating bundles, creating gift baskets, creating multi-packs, doing all those type of things, and trying to sell everything for that $35 and above. That you want to keep your prices up there, that $35 and above, to encourage the free shipping for everybody, or the free Super Saver shipping for everybody. And I think there's a lot of opportunities in the lower price stuff, but I know that I can tell you honestly that I was wrong. I was doing this business wrong, I think, just 6 months ago in January and February, right after the Christmas rush. I mean, you can't do anything wrong in December. I mean, anything you throw in there, it sells. It's just ridiculous. But in January and February and the beginning of March, I would go out and I'd find things that I could buy for $1 and sell for $10, and I would buy all of that. Where now I'm more focused on creating listings, creating multi-packs, creating things where there wasn't things before. And I'm not having to sell nearly as much to make more money. And I think that's smart business. I think that if you look at what you're doing and you figure out what's going right and you figure out what's going wrong and you stop doing the things that are going wrong and push harder on the things that are going right, your business is going to get better. And I think that for me, January and February, I was trying to figure out what I was doing. I've only been doing FBA for a little over a year now. I've been on Amazon for about 18 months, but doing truly FBA for only about a year now. And I can tell you when I first started, I had it all wrong. I would go out and I would scan something, and if it had profit, I would buy it. So I would go out, I go to Toys R Us, I go to Walmart, I go to Target, and I don't mean just any profit, but I mean if I could double my money on it, I didn't care what the rank was, I didn't care how quick it would turn, I didn't care about any of that stuff. If it had profit, I was buying it. And then Christmas came along, and I started really thinking about how things were going. You know, how was life, you know, what was being successful, what was not being successful, and really started to look at what I was doing. Well, at Christmas time, everything was successful. I mean, I didn't care. I mean, I would just go out and buy and buy and buy and buy, and the only thing that stopped me during Christmas time was the limit on my cards. I could only get out $3,000 a day. You know, that's all I could spend was $3,000 a day. And it was easy to go out and spend that because there were so many products that were just ridiculous that Amazon would come in and out of stock on, and when they would go out of stock, the price would go through the roof. I mean, I can tell you a couple things that I was selling during Christmas time. I mean, I had this Light Bright deal, Light Bright Cube, and they had them on not clearance, but on sale at Kmart's. And if you guys remember, if you watched any of my videos, I went out on the road during Christmas time, and I was all over the country, just buying. And I mean, we'd fill up a trailer, go somewhere, ship it in. Fill up a trailer, go somewhere, ship it in. And we were doing this every other day. And but they had these Light Bright cubes, and they were $12.95 was the sale price, normally $19.95. And when Amazon would come in stock, they would sell for $19.95. And when they would go out of stock, they'd be out of stock for like 3 weeks. And these things would go all the way up to like $55 or $60. I mean, it would just shoot through the roof. And I mean, I bought tons and tons of these things. I mean, everywhere I'd go, I'd fill up carts full of these Light Bright deals. And I wouldn't care if Amazon was in stock when I scanned it or not. I'd just fill up my cart knowing that they'd be out of stock. And by the time I shipped it in, they were out of stock, and the price just went crazy. And fourth quarter just isn't reality. Stuff that happens during the fourth quarter doesn't happen at any time during the year. So when I got to January, people had gift cards, and it still continued the same kind of way. Amazon was out of stock on pretty much everything. Going back one more thing on that, during the fourth quarter, Black Friday, I got lucky. I mean, we were in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We stationed our RV in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We went out Black Friday and loaded up. I mean, just bought everything we could buy. And we were still not 100% confident in what we were doing. And we were just, you know, I could have made so much more money, but that's another story. But we were in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we went out Black Friday, loaded up the trailer, came back to our RV, and we shipped it out on that Saturday. And then Cyber Monday came around, and Amazon and everyone else that had products in FBA sold out. I mean, sold out of pretty much everything that I had sent in. And I could literally ask any price I wanted to ask for this stuff, and people were paying it. And we were driving back home, and we were in somewhere, I don't remember where we were, somewhere in Alabama, I think, and Birmingham, Alabama, I think. And our stuff got checked in Birmingham. We were in Birmingham, and our stuff got checked in Chattanooga. And we sent tons, 15 boxes in of stuff. And it got checked in, and I was literally refreshing my phone I could pull it down and refresh it. And every time I would refresh it, there would be 2 or 3 new orders, 2 or 3 new orders, 2 or 3 new orders. And probably for an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, we sold, I think it was like 147 things that we sent in. And I mean, it was just ridiculous. And it made no sense. You know, I mean, we were selling stuff that we were buying full retail and getting 3 and 4 times retail for it. And it made no sense. And we got back home right around the 10th of December, and I think it was, no, it was probably before that. I think it was before the 10th. Olivia's in there. She knows. I don't know exactly. But we got back, and I got these Zoomer dogs started going crazy. And I mean, I was buying these things for $60 at Walmart. In my area, they weren't hot. They weren't popular like they were on Amazon. And they were selling for $150, $160. And I was merchant fulfilling these things. And I would go into a Walmart here, and I would buy every one they would have. And I would list them on my phone when I was standing in line, getting ready to check out. And by the time I checked out, all of them would be gone. They would all be sold. I mean, literally in 5-10 minutes, I would sell 25 or 30 of these things. And I would make $40 or $50 profit on every one. I would come to the shop, we'd package them up, send them out, and I'd go out the next day to another Walmart somewhere where we called and checked around. And, Olivia would go out in her little bitty car and fill it up to the brim with these Zoomer dogs. And, I mean, we made $5,000-$6,000 in 10 days off of these Zoomer dogs. But, that's fourth quarter. That's not reality. And when it got back to January, there was, like I said, gift cards. Stuff was still selling. Stuff was still going good. And February was even better than January. But in February, I started to figure it out. I started to figure out that I couldn't just send anything I wanted to send in. I couldn't send in stuff that I was making $3 in. It was not worth the effort. It was not worth the time. If I found something that had a good sales rank and I could ship it in, send it in, and do a multi-pack, it would sell. So we would start doing multi-packs, and we'd find products that were add-on items that had good ranks, and we would create multi-packs if there weren't any. And if you look on Amazon, especially in grocery, a lot of these things have where they have one seller selling a single item for $7, and then they have another seller selling a dozen items for $70. And if you're like most people, you don't need a dozen of anything, but you might buy 4. So and then Amazon changed the rules from $35 to $35 from $25. So I would create bundles for 4 at $28.95 or something like that of these things that I was paying $1 for. So now I've got $4 into it, and I'm selling it for $28.95. My total cost, the amount that I'm spending per item in fees, goes dramatically down. And let me turn this on silent, like Olivia said. That's a good idea. But the amount that my fees goes way down, and my profit goes way up. Because even if someone bought, say I send in something and it's a $7 item, and someone bought 4 of them. Well, my profit doesn't change. I still only make $1 a piece on them because the pull packing fee is the same on every one. The shipping's the same on every one. All the fees are the same. But if I create a 4-pack, I only pay 1 pull pack and ship. I only pay 1 shipping fee, and that's what it's all about. Is figuring out ways to get your fees down and your profits up. And that's something that we're really focusing on now. And when I talk about getting that per order price up, that's what we're really focusing on, because fourth quarter is completely different than any other time of the year. And December we did almost $75,000 in sales in December, and in the first quarter of this year, I think we did a little over 100,000 in the first quarter, but in December we did 70 grand. And it's just focusing on, on that 70 grand we did. I don't know how much of it was $10 items, but I would think that some of it. And now I don't even mess with that stuff because the fees are so much more. I mean, you're paying 40% of your total price it sells for is fees, and that just doesn't make any sense. Let's see if we got any more questions here. Kind of rambling here. I apologize. All right, Kristen Martin, any resources you would recommend how to list in bundles? I was actually just working on a video on showing people how to create a bundle. So probably next week I'm gonna put out some videos next week on how Olivia had a good idea how I find items that I think would be good for bundles. We'll do a video on that. We'll do a video on how to package your items to get them shipped out to FBA in a bundle. We'll do a video on, how to price your items when you put them in a bundle, because you can get more when it's in a bundle than if you can't. And, some of that stuff. I'll do that stuff next week. And all next week we'll do videos the whole week long on that stuff. I think that's a good idea. Olivia said, turn off my phone. That's what my wife does. She nags at me until I do it. Mr. Y-Noter. Is it really possible to make this a full-time job? Abso-frickin-lutely. Yep. I mean, I'm paying a lot of bills with it, so that's what my job is now. It's just make enough money to pay my bills and save some. Have you thought about selling your photos as digital stock photos instead of how you sell them on eBay? We tried some on digital stock stuff, but it's just not. You don't sell as much. We have a big following of collectors who buy tons and tons of photos, like you just heard from us every week, and I'm happy with my business on the photos. I don't plan on changing anything. If I got some cool, crazy stuff, I'd probably try some digital stock stuff, but I don't think it's something that I'm really gonna necessarily mess with. Recommends to get ready now or soon for Q4. I would recommend right now you're getting ready for back to school. That's what I'm doing, getting ready for back to school, figuring out how I want to attack that. Last year we created a bunch of bundles and packs and different stuff, and we'll use some of those same listings that we used last year. But think about what people are going to need to go back to school and figure out how you can get it to them so it saves them either time or money. That's all you got to worry about. Save them time or money. If you can save them both, you've got a winner. But if you can save them time, you save them money, you can do it for sure. And but right now I'm getting ready for back to school. Back to school run. Last year we did awesome in August and the end of July. My two biggest months last year outside of November and December were in August and July, and the majority of that was in back to school stuff. So get ready for back to school. If you're out, you see backpacks, any of that type of stuff that you can buy super cheap, right now is the time to buy it. In a month they won't be cheap, and you're not going to be able to but last year was, back to school was a lot like fourth quarter. I mean, you could go to Toys R Us and they had this Despicable Me lunchbox and backpack that was selling in a bundle for like $75, and I mean it would sell as soon as you got it checked in, and you could buy it for like $19 at Toys R Us. And I mean, but I think back to school is a huge opportunity. Once you get through August, then you start gearing up for fourth quarter, figuring out what you're going to do. You've got to think right in that time period. You've got a lot of holidays. You've got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's. All those things. People shop for holidays. So you got to start thinking, before you start thinking about Christmas, you got to start thinking about what are you going to do for Halloween? What are you going to do for Thanksgiving? Are you going to create some bundles for that? Are you going to create, like I said, save people time, save people money, and that's when you got a winner on a bundle. Kristen saying hello to Olivia. Anna Vasquez, what's going on? She's always over on my Facebook page. If you guys haven't checked me out on Facebook, please go over there. Picking Live on Facebook. Follow us over there. I give out tons of information over there. A couple days ago, I posted some Train Your Dragon stuff that's going for some crazy money and some car stuff that's going for crazy money. There's always ways you can make money if you go over there and check out my Facebook page. Kristen Martin again, sounds unreal. However, does anyone get ready for that kind of buying and selling frenzy? Well, the selling part is easy. You just ship it into FBA and you don't have to worry about any of it. The buying part can be taxing, can be tiring. I think that fourth quarter was the best experience and the best boot camp I ever had to get ready for what I'm doing now. And I think you have to go through a fourth quarter, and your first fourth quarter isn't going to be, by the end of your first fourth quarter on Amazon, you're going to figure out what you're doing a little bit. And you're going to start thinking about things in a different way. And by the end of your first fourth quarter, you're going to know that Amazon works. You're not going to have any doubts. And you're going to be ready to go into it full stream in the first quarter of the following year. So if I was to give anyone a suggestion who hasn't gone through a fourth quarter on Amazon and on what to do, is I'd say don't have any preconceived ideas of what's going to sell and what's not going to sell. I know that when I left in November, those Zoomer dogs weren't hot. When I left in November, the Doc McStuffin stuff was crazy hot, and the Duck Dynasty stuff was crazy hot. But by the time the 20th of December, 15th of December came around, Doc McStuffin was no longer super hot. Duck Dynasty was no longer super hot. And Frozen and all the Zoomer dogs and all this stuff was just going crazy. And if I would have been, I tell you, one of my biggest mistakes after the fourth quarter. I went out, and they have a local grocery store in my area called Brookshire's, and they had those Frozen dolls, the Sparkle Eliza dolls, and I bought all I could buy. All I could buy. They were $2 to $4. $2 to $4 for these Frozen dolls. And I bought probably 100 of them. And I sent them in, and by the time they got sent in, Amazon was selling them. And they were selling them for $18.99 or something like that. And I said, well, Amazon's in stock on this. Amazon's not going to go out of stock. It's after Christmas. There's not going to be a big deal. I'll just match Amazon's price, and I'll sell them, and we'll just move on. Well, Amazon sold out about 3 weeks after I sold out, and those prices went to $50 to $75 a piece. And I cost myself easily $5,000. And it was a mistake. But I learned from it, and now I know that Amazon does go out of stock a lot more often than you think. And I'm not as afraid to hold on to stuff. Wait for Amazon to go out of stock and then make my money. All right, let's see here. All right, I hear it's easy to make a new Amazon seller account if you get banned. No, it's not, because they check your. Well, you can. You just have to get a completely different what is that? ISBN or not? That's books. The code that comes in on your internet, because they track all of that. Because so even if you're selling on, if someone else came in my store here and was selling on Amazon and got banned, I would get banned because they block everyone from that ISB number. I don't know what it's called. US something. Norris Contacts. Any tips on breaking into food and grocery category? be creative. I mean, I think that some of my biggest successes in food and grocery have been things that are trendy or hot things, and they probably won't last more than 5 or 6 months, but right now they're killing it, and I'm making a load of money on it. And, there'll be another thing in 5 or 6 months that's hot or trendy. But I think to be successful in food and, grocery stuff, first thing you need to do is don't be afraid to create new listings. Don't be afraid to create listings for products that are local that you think no one else is going to want this. There are people out there who are going to want it. Don't be afraid to use the Amazon ads, the ads you can set up, ISP address. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Just don't be afraid to create listings, because I think that is the key to this whole deal. Just like I said the other day, if you find something that's an add-on item, say you find something that's a $7 add-on item, but it's got like a 35,000 rank. Well, for an add-on item, for someone to buy an add-on item, they've got to buy $35 worth of stuff before that item will even ship to you. So to have a 35,000 rank on an add-on item is a pretty good rank. And when you find those 35,000 rank on a single item, where it's a single item, one seller selling a single item, and then there maybe is another seller who's selling a 24-pack or a dozen or a larger quantity that most people in the real world aren't ever going to buy, and you create some kind of middle ground where, maybe if it's selling for $7, maybe you create a 6-pack to get to that $35 mark, and then boom, you're all set. You've got an item that was an add-on that was $35. You've created a new listing in a smaller quantity than what everyone else has. You're the only seller, so if that item sells 10 times a day, you get all 10 sales. And that's the strategy that I'm using right now, and I'm being successful with it. And I would encourage anyone else who's approved to sell in grocery to do that same thing. I mean, there's a lot of products out there right now that Amazon sells for $5 to $7 to $8 that there's no one else selling in a quantity that's reasonable. And if you can, it's work to multi-pack. It's work to create listings. It's work to do that type of stuff. And if you're not afraid to work, you can make money at it. And I would highly suggest, if I was listening to this, I would go on to Amazon, I would look at items that are add-on items and try to find some that I know I can source locally, that, maybe grocery store or wherever, that is there's a group of sellers that are selling them for a single item that's an add-on, and then there's a group of sellers that's selling them in a huge quantity, 12, 24, whatever. And I would create some kind of middle ground in that, $35 range. So if it's selling for $9, I'd probably create a 4-pack. If it's selling for $7, I'd probably create a 6-pack and stay in that $35 range. And, if it's selling on Amazon for $7, you can usually find it at a grocery store for $2 or $3, $4. And if it's, let's say it's $3 just for the middle ground, and it's selling for $9, and you're going to create a 4-pack. So you're creating a 4-pack to sell it for $35, and you're going to have $12 in it. So you're going to make $12 profit when you sell that item. And that's all you really want to do is double your money. And if you can do that over and over and over times a day, you're going to be all set. I tell Olivia this all the time. We don't have to find 1 million products that sell once a day. We just need to find 10 or 20 products that sell 5 times a day and make $10 profit. If we can do that, we're going to be all right. And that's what our focus is on right now. Hope that answered your question. No, Kristen, thank you for listening. If it wasn't for you guys listening, I wouldn't put out any of this content. And if it wasn't for you guys, and knowing that, there's places that you can get this content that I don't think is accurate. I think there's a lot of people who put out content that's not necessarily accurate, and I think when you guys come over and you like my Facebook page, which we're almost to 1,000 likes, you like my YouTube page, which we're at like 3,700 on there, you like my Twitter, we're almost to 300 or 400, which I don't do anything really on Twitter, and it's probably my fault, but when you guys do that, it makes me feel like there's people that actually want to learn, and that's what I'm here for. I mean, I think that's a huge market. I'm not hurting myself, I don't think. I'm giving you ideas. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm telling you the strategies I've used that's worked, that's been successful for me. And take it for what you want. I'm not sitting here telling you that I know all the answers, because I don't. I learn stuff every day. I'm still learning every day. And I try things, and things work and things fail. And the things that work I continue to do, and the things that fail I stop doing. And when I put out this content, I put out this information for you guys, I don't feel like I'm creating another competition, because you may hear what I say differently than I say it in my head. When I say go out and create this and, find items like this and like that, well, there's literally 1 million products in grocery, and there's probably 100,000 of them that fall into that category that I just figured out. The one item selling as an add-on and someone selling it as a huge multi-pack. There's probably 100,000 of them out there, and the ones I find aren't going to be the same ones you find. So I'm not creating competition. And if there is, well, there's only 2 of us selling it. So if it sells 10 times a day, I only get 5 sales. Well, that's not terrible. So I just think that there's a lot of people who give out information and tell you things. They don't tell you everything. I tell you everything. I tell you the good things and the bad things. I tell you the things that work and the things that failed. And hopefully you take away from the things that failed and don't do those things, and you take away from the things that work and you try to figure out how you can add that to your business and make it better. And that's all I try to do. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or say anybody's doing things wrong or incorrectly, but I think that the more you learn, the better off you're going to be. And listening to YouTube videos and listening to me ramble here tonight, if you picked up a little nugget, all the better. I hear that you need to provide an invoice to get approved for food and grocery. Any advice on how to get an invoice? I've heard a couple different things. I know Jessica LaRue posted over on her page a while back whole instructions. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Sorry, guys. I don't know, if you go over to Jessica's, she's got a page. I'm sure somebody out there knows who I'm talking about. Jessica LaRue on the internet. Just search Jessica FBA. She has a whole step-by-step deal that you can go through to get approved for it, and it's something to do with just needing some receipts or something like that. I don't really know. I didn't need to get it, but if you have a local I don't want to say Gordon Foods, but there's a lot of food distributors locally that you can go into and buy direct. You can just walk in and buy stuff. I would think that you would get an invoice for something like that, and I think you could probably look that up without a problem. I can't get this internet to work here. Let's see if I can get this other computer. But she has a whole step-by-step deal, and let me see. Yeah, it's Jessica LaRue, LARREW.com, and she's right on their homepage. She has a whole instructions on getting approved in Amazon's newly restricted categories: beauty, healthcare, and grocery. And she breaks it all down here. I mean, I could sit here and tell you what it says, but she's got a great website over there, and it's worth at least checking that out. And I've talked to her a few times on Facebook, and she knows what she's doing. So I go check. Everybody had their questions answered tonight. I set it up, I think, the right way this time so that I can see the questions as they come across. So hopefully everybody got everything that they needed. Again, normally I do this show on Saturday afternoons. I did it tonight because I don't have time to do it tomorrow. I know there's some I noticed on my feed that some other people had a show going on tonight, and I apologize if I interrupted what they had going on, but this is the only time I could do it. So I hope everyone had a good time, got their questions answered. If you guys have any other questions, please go over to my Facebook page, Picking Live. You can post them over there. Either myself or Olivia answers almost every question we get over there. And, if you guys have anything that you're doing that I had somebody today who had an opportunity to go buy some HBA products at a huge discount, and talk to him about that. And there's people who text me or send me messages over there wanting to know what kind of lighting equipment we use, what kind of printers we use, all that type of stuff. We're glad to answer, glad to share any information we've got with you, and hope that it makes everyone's business a little bit better. And I think that's all I've got to say tonight. If there's no more questions, I'm going to call it an evening, and we've gone for about an hour here. Again, I apologize for the rambling. This was supposed to be a little bit more Amazon FBA oriented, and I think it really was. And I think that what you need to do first off tonight, if you're selling on Amazon FBA currently, is go through your inventory and look and see what products you have. If you have anything that may be a red flag or something, just get it sent back to you. It's not worth getting your account shut down over some bullcrap product that you're going to make $5 on, that it's going to stop you from making hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future. And also, I would go in and I would suggest that you change your inventory from co-mingled to labeling everything yourself. That's going to protect you against the counterfeit problems that you're having with the frozen, and I'm sure there's going to be more counterfeit problems in the future. And it's also going to protect you from people sending in products that are broken or beat up or whatever, aren't the product quality that you'd want to get sent out, and just really stops you from having any real problems there. And if you're not currently selling on FBA, you're thinking about selling it, I would highly suggest that you go over and read the rules before you really jump in this too deep, because there are rules, there are regulations you're going to have to follow, and if you know it up front, you can take care of it, and it won't be a surprise later on, and you won't have to rush around getting this or getting that. But I hope everybody learned something tonight. I hope everybody had a good time. I appreciate everyone who sat around and listened to me ramble. And again, if you guys have any questions or anything, please go over to my Facebook page, Picking Live, leave them over there, and we'll be glad to answer them. And until next time, guys, thanks a lot.